Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, BMX fans, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Bathurst in Australia, round 3 of the UCI BMX World Cup. I'm Rich Eames, here with my co-commentator for the weekend, Brett Barnes. How are you, Brett?
I'm great, Rich. Great to be here in lovely, not so sunny, but it's not raining, it's great in Bathurst.
Yeah, we're here today for round 3 on the 8th of February. Got another round tomorrow before moving on to Manchester, Papendal, and finishing up the series in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So, all good here, and just a beautiful overview of the track there. And we're going to have a look around Bathurst itself. I'll leave this one to you, Brett.
Well, Bathurst is a beautiful city. It's part of the Central Tablelands, just a little bit west of Sydney, one of the oldest towns in Australia, so sort of thrived when we had the gold rush. But the one thing that probably most, especially petrol heads, know Bathurst for is Mount Panorama. And the BMX track, this big Supercross track, just sits to the east of Mount Panorama. So we did a lap yesterday.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a fantastic experience. But just looking on screen there, you can just see the kind of visuals of everything that goes on in this part of the world. Plenty of wildlife. Look at all those bats in the trees. That's not something you get in Manchester, Brett.
No. Look, it's a beautiful town. It's like you'd see, we've got, there's parks all through the town. Very academic town as well. So universities here in town. So a lot of younger people come to Bathurst and study. A lot of older churches, as you can see there. So sort of they come off the fact that the town is so old. There's the track.
Yeah, it's a nice chilled out vibe. So we're going to start about 9:35 a.m. local time with round 1, moving on to the last chance qualifiers and then the 16th finals for elite men. 8 finals will go roughly round about quarter to 12 in the semis, 20 past 1 local time, and the finals 5 minutes to 2 local time here in Bathurst, New South Wales. So, just taking a look, cloudy conditions, a little bit overcast here in Bathurst, 21 degrees, so it is actually quite warm, and the wind blowing currently at 24 kilometres an hour, which is, it's breezy, but it's not outrageous just at the moment, but we'll see how that changes a little bit later on today. And moving on, there are your World Cup standings so far after round 1. Connor Fields leading it out, Anthony Dean into Nick Kimmen. Inside the top 3, David Graff in 4th, Andre in 5, Isaac Kennedy in 6, Ramirez in 7, and Roman Mayhew of France in 8.
A lot of regulars there, Rich, but the surprise, little Isaac Kennedy, giving it up. Now we've got the ladies here. We've got Elise Willoughby with a solid 300. Saya Sakakibara with a 230. Manon Valentina, great result for her last weekend, 190. Felicia Stansel, again, top result. Lauren Reynolds, really showing that she should be on that Australian team. Laura Smolders, Mariana Payon, and Zoe Classens with a 150.
Yeah, so Zoe's put some good results in. And
riding really well.
Yeah, progressing really steadily. Yeah. As you can see, we're using the 5-metre hill this morning, just moving over, not using the 8, just because of the wind conditions and the prediction of the weather later on. So safety first in all cases, but everybody's as fired up as they would be if they would be on the 8-metre hill. So just wait and see who is lining up. You can see Connor Fields there on the inside, lane number 1. So he'll be looking to create another win this weekend and take away maximum points. His confidence should be well up after last weekend.
Doesn't lack pull, so I don't think the 5 minutes is really going to affect Connor.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem for him at all. There you go, round 1. These riders will move to the 16th finals if they're inside the top 4. If they're outside of the top 4, they move through to the last chance qualifiers. So they will get another attempt to get themselves through into the 16th, but there'll be an extra lap in the legs, which might just slow them up a little bit later on.
Track's fast, so I think we were talking about it a little earlier.
Yeah.
The wind might not be a bad thing coming off that 5 metre.
There's your lineup: Connor Fields, Alexander Katishev, Liam Webster, Cole Teasar, Ikigami, Shimada, and Jamie Gill out of Australia. All lining up in heat number 1. We are very nearly ready to go here. Round number 3 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup in Bathurst.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Alrighty, here we go. Heat number one is underway. Connor Fields on the inside looking for an early hole shot, and it looks like he's going to get... Oh, one rider gets it ever so wrong, just heading into turn number one. It's Fields, Webster, Katishev, Shimada. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Katishev coming under pressure, but Connor Fields is leading this one out into turn number two. The German rider Webster right there behind him, but Fields is opening up a gap now. 0.514 of a second as they go into that third straight. Connor Fields smooth and on the move into the final turn. Webster coming under pressure from Katishev. Is Katishev going to catch him down this short final straight? No, he's not. He's going to have to settle for three. Rock and roll Cold Teas are going through in four. Ikigami, Gill, and everybody else on the way to the LCQ. That was a big first lap, Brett.
Big first lap, exactly what we thought. Fields taking it out. Webster, good lap from him. Katishev in for the third. Next one on the gate, we've got Anthony Dean, huge weekend for Anthony, James Palmer, Boris Pomerov, Nathaniel Rodway, young Aussie, interesting to see how he goes, Matteo Furlan, Cis Ogamar, and Louis Cotton. So curiously, Dean hasn't picked the inside like Fields.
Okay, riders, random
So
start.
looking for a little bit of space.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Oh, nice even gate. Let's see how this affects coming off the 5 metre. As you'd expect, Anthony Dean heaps of pull, goes down, nice manual off the back into the Tioga corner for the first time. We've got a young Russian rider, young Boris Pomerov in there. James Palmer sitting in the second place, pretty much where you'd expect to get him. Anthony Dean, though, no mistakes here. These boys, that corner very, very open. They've got to get right on the gas straight away. He does the step up, doesn't go across the back and into the UCI corner. Palmer sitting pretty in second. The Russian rider, Pomerov, Boris sitting in the third. No, Furlan's gotten it.
Yeah, Anthony Dean definitely going to be looking to pick up a win. Make up for the slight disappointment he might have felt last weekend. So here we go. Heat number 3, Philip Shaw, Quillan Isidore, Trey White, both of Great Britain, Nick Long, Jai Homsch, Tony Siarafudin, and Nick Kimmen out of the Netherlands. Nick out there in his familiar gate 8.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Number 3, Quillan Isidore and Trey White looking to get some good results for Great Britain, and Isidore's got a good start. Nick Kimmen from the outside, going to move across. Can't quite beat Quillan into turn number 1, so Kimmen pushed high. Oh, he's managed to just slow it down a little bit. Not quite sure what's gone on there. Quillan Isidore, though, leading it out for Great Britain, looking very, very good at the moment. Philipp Schaub out of Germany. He's in there in 2, coming under pressure, though, from Jai Homsch. Jai Homsch making his move now down this third straight. Here comes Nick Long as well. Oh, Trey White's dropped it on the third straight, so he's down on the floor. Let's hope he's okay. Quillen's going to cross the line. He's going to take the win. Philipp Schaub in there in 2. Nick Long coming through in 3. Jai Homsch in 4. Trey White still down on that third straight. Looking like he might have knocked all the wind out of himself. Just picking himself up now.
Yeah, we spoke about that rhythm before, just before racing, and it's deep. You get it wrong, it can come back to bite you. You get it right, and you're just picking up speed all the way through it. So back on the bike, that's great to see. Work our way into our next moto. We've got David Graff, had another great weekend last week. Alfredo Campo, Noah Brescian, Leo Gorien, Thomas Uev, Alex Cameron, and Oliver Moran from Australia. So 2 Aussies in there. Of course, no bias entered into the commentary here. So just waiting for a clear track from our officials. Graph's
Okay,
picked the
riders,
one.
random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Some excellent footage of David Graff setting up on the gate there. We work our way down the first straight, and Graff, a very clean set of heels there. He is a precision rider. As we work our way, first it's Campo's got the next. You have is the next Campo. Nice ride from him last week. Had a bad first day, good second day. Come back on fire on the second day at Shepparton. But Graff out in front. Cameron slots himself into the third place there. Brescian in the 4th. Alex Cameron in Australia. He would be the one rider you never want behind you. And as I've said it, there he goes. Shoots himself into possibly the first. Yes, he does. It's going to be Cameron.
Graf, Campo and Juve going through inside the top 4. Nice to see some interesting different lines down that third straight as well. As we move on to heat number 5, Palaminos, Klashenko, D'Souza, Yoshi, Devecchi, Tidswell and Sylvain Andre out there on the outside running the number 3. Ready to go.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So Sylvain Andre of France choosing an outside gate this time. He must be very confident in his abilities as they head down towards turn number 1, and that confidence is just whole shot from the outside. So Sylvain Andre leading it out, Klashenko in 2, Palaminos in 3, Tidswell's in there in 4. He's doing it for Australia, so the local fans will be really excited to see this guy put a result in. But Sylvain Andre of France leading it out, 0.4 ahead of Klashenko. Palaminos looking quite comfortable in 3. Sylvain Andre floating through that third straight round that final corner. It's a short final straight here in Bathurst. He's going to hold it to the line. Who's going to get the 2? It's going to be the Russian rider. Klashenko, Devecchi, Palaminos, not quite sure what happened to Tidswell. And that looks like the Japanese rider Yoshi just taking a tumble just before the line. Maybe that front tyre's blown out. Yes, it is. Oh. Let's hope he's okay for the next round, because he's going to have to go to the LC Cube.
And Andre picking across the top line there. You spoke about that line through the rhythm there. It looks like it's definitely faster. In this one, we've got Isaac Kennedy, big result from him last week, and Abalada in there as well. Cunning, Hale, Mashita, McConey, and young Jack Davis.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So we've seen in a couple of heats, lane 1, not the big advantage that it might be off an outside 8 metre. So we're going to look in here. We've got, let's see, the young German rider, Hale. Great first straight from him, doing very nice in lead. Arboleda in there as well. Arbaleda's actually taken to the front. We've got Hale. Isaac Kennedy on the hunt in 3rd place. Shoots himself around there into the second corner, but it's Arboleda, Hale, Cunning, Isaac Kennedy. So Jace Cunning is the one that's actually slotted himself there. Watch him, he's gone across the top there as we come through. We'll look for it. A great ride from Arboleda there. Kennedy goes from about 5th into 2nd, Cunning, and then Hale.
Yeah, it was pretty close between 4 and 5 in that one. So one rider's going to have to go through to the LCQ by the skin of his teeth. But next up, Heat 7. Kriegers, Turner, Ramirez, Molina, Verbinen, Coles, Warner, and Renato Rezende on the 500 out of Brazil.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Christus Kriegers and Wade Turner on the inside, but it was the podium maker from last weekend, Carlos Ramirez, shooting out front and into that turn with his South American compatriot Renato Rezende right there behind him. Kriegers is in 3, Verbinen in 4, but Ramirez, Olympic medalist, out front and in charge in this particular moto. Got about 3 bike lengths now on Renato Rezende, and then Kriegers is making a move. Oh, Turner's making moves as well. He's gone from 5th to 3rd, taking the high line. Look at the different lines as they go through the straight. Ramirez is still on it. Turner's still there in 3rd. Kriegers is under pressure now as they come towards the line. Ramirez is going to get it. Rezende in 2, Turner in 3, Molina in 4. So Kriegers got past in that final turn. That's how tight it is, Brett.
Yeah, Kriegers off to the last chance qualifiers. That was a hot heat.
It was a hot heat.
That was a smoker. So we look at this one. We've got Make, Dubois, Bukata, McDermott, Hashimoto, Rosa, young Patrick Bogner, just still in junior elite, and Mayhew. So we're seeing a few of these riders picking the outside lanes. They don't get the advantage that they would on the 8, where lane 1 still has a big open area as you go into the corner. So you might as well pick the outside. All right, nice even gate. Not much in it here. Up the inside, we'll catch the rider there. Rich, You're going to have to help me out here.
That's all right. That's Simon Marquardt out of Switzerland.
It is Marquardt. There we go. Rosa and Dubois. So Rosa, good result for him. He's sitting in there. I think he might be slotted back to third place now, but Marquardt doing a nice job there. Let it from Godewaux, Dubois, Rosa, McDermott is how it reads is the 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got one of them's got it completely wrong. We'll look through there. This rhythm section making the riders pay for any mistakes, but it's going to be Marquardt. Rosa gets through there. McDermott and Boucard, I think it was Dubois, actually went down. Just got the timing wrong in that. We spoke about the high and low lines through that. You can see if you miss the valley, it definitely rewards you, but if you don't get it right, it can come back and make you pay the price.
Yeah, Corentin Dubois went down quite hard there, and Romain May just stopped to make sure that his compatriot was okay.
Great sportsmanship.
Let's hope that is the case, and here we go. Got it wrong, and that was harsh.
Mistimed that. Actually, and a couple of the riders behind him, I don't know if they were trying to miss it, and they've ended up out of sync as well. He's on his feet, which is great.
Yeah, it's never good when you bounce off your chest, is it? It's and
that's why we're in commentary, Rich.
Yeah.
This rhythm straight really designed to reward the brave. Maybe back there. We didn't see him in that race either, so he's off to Last Chance as well. Surprised he rode really well last week at Shepparton. He was on it. Lots of horsepower on the first straight, so I'd expect to see him probably breeze through Last Chance, I would think.
Breeze being the operative term with the win that we've got here. So,
well, speaking of which, what do we got? We've got looking at the flags. We've got one set of flags up the top there, and we're looking at a bit of a headwind for the first, which may not be a bad thing. It doesn't look like a cross, which is great.
Yeah.
He's back on his feet. Dubois crosses the line.
Chain off the bike, so the mechanic will be busy when he gets back up to the team tent.
Anything that knocks the chain off that.
But the most important thing is for Corentin Dubois, he's walking away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is exactly what we want to see. I'm sure he'll have some bumps and bruises for Sunday morning. Next up will be heat number 9 of the first round here for elite men. UCI BMX Supercross round 3 in Bathurst. Max Kearns, Jay Shippers, Yukiya Yoshimura, Harrison Craig, Ugamar Renkerel, Dave Vanderberg, and Hayden Fletcher out of Australia.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Jay Shippers and Max Kearns on the inside. Looks like Shippers got a great start. Vanderberg coming across from the outside. Renkerel in there as well. Going to get that hole shot into turn number 1. Renkerel, who came so close to winning round number 2 in Shepparton just last weekend. He's leading it out. He's looking to go just a couple of steps better this particular day. So Renkerel, Vanderberg 1 and 2. That looks like Kearns in 3, Fletcher's in there in 4. So the Aussie's getting a good showing. Here comes Kearns trying to make his way into that second spot, and he's got it. So the Dutchies are 3 and 4 at the moment, battling for those qualifying positions. Renkerel's going to get it. Looks like Kearns is going to get the 2. Shippers in 3, Vanderberg in 4. So the Dutch riders safely through to the 16th.
Yeah, the local boys showing a little bit of local knowledge for that third straight. At the moment, I would say the third straight's probably the hardest straight they've got to deal with. So we got Blanc in this one, Bensek, Thurkelson, Boyton, Seegers, Booty, Hocking, and Aiden Nemeth. Working away, heat 10.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
All right, nice gate from Blanc up the inside, lane 1, but we've got 3 other riders that have all decided to go with him as they go through there. We've got the Danish rider, Thurkelson's in there as well. But at the moment, Thurkelson looks like might be Josh Boyton there, the young Aussie rider, slots himself in there. And possibly the Swiss rider, Booty, I'd say. Booty in 3rd, yeah, Boyton and Booty doing the bang in the bars there for the 3rd, 4th place position at the moment. But Blanc, the Swiss rider, doing very nicely indeed.
Right,
a bit of a change. One's down in that last corner. That's going to cat amongst the pigeons for the 1 to 4. Thurkelson gets a great ride from here. Blanc, Bensink, big move in that last corner from both Thurkelson, Bensink and Boyton.
Yeah, I think that was Cedric Booty who took that tumble in that final turn. Just got caught, just tagged his back wheel on the top of the landing coming into the turn, and it just spat him straight over the bars. Oh, that looks so He'll be hobbling off track.
So he was actually banging for the 3-4 with Josh Boyden at the time. He's landed on that ankle. But look, you cannot keep these guys down. He's just, like exactly as you said, Rich, he's just mistimed it, isn't he?
Yeah. This third straight, he's definitely catching people out.
Well, you look at the moment, we're running the 5 metre and we're on the easier side of the second. So the first thing that's really put to him as far as skills and technicality goes is the third.
Yeah.
So it sort of makes sense.
Yeah, moving on. Heat 11, Molina, Ciottino, Jeremy Smith, Kyle Hill, Mitchell Shotman, Julian Schmidt, Bruno Cardoso, and Harrison Davis. Jeremy Smith of the USA put some great laps in last weekend in Shepperton. Training out there in Florida with his crew.
Okay, riders, random start.
I'm sure they're cheering him on.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Heat number 11 of the first round of Elite Men, charging down that 5 metre hill towards turn number 1. It is Molina with the horsepower into the turn. Where is Jeremy Smith? He's in there in about third at the moment. Schmidt in second. Ciottino in there in fourth. It looks like a rider coming through might be Mitchell Shotman. Mitchell Shotman working his way into 3 now. So the Dutch rider getting in there looking for a wide line in the turn. Jeremy Smith. Ciottino's dived underneath. Kyle Hill's getting in there as well. So as they head down the third straight, oh, look at this. All bunched together, all taking the same line. Oh, Jeremy Smith just into the barriers. Couldn't quite hold it. He's going to have to go through to the last chance qualifier. Unlucky for him. Molina, Ciottino, Hill, Cardoso. Jeremy Smith just ran out of room. Mitchell Shotman's gone down on that final turn straight as well. He's furiously trying to keep his shoulder moving. Looks like he's gone down hard on his shoulder or his collarbone.
I think we just found out how many riders you can fit into that last corner.
Oh, about 4.
Less than what went in.
Oh, let's hope everybody's okay. This third straight is collecting people left and right.
Yeah, look, like I said, that's where the racing's really starting. But look at the pack. You could throw a picnic blanket over the whole field.
Yeah. Let's see if we can see here what happened to Mitchell Shotman. Jeremy Smith into the barriers. And Shotman went down somewhere on that last straight, and he's walking past us now. Oh, he looks sore.
Yeah. He's back to it. Like, you cannot keep these guys down. It's amazing. But these guys are modern-day warriors. Villegas, Torres, Clerté, Babri, Krzyzewski, O'Connor, Thomas Olia, and Ben Bullen Aslan. That's heat 12.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Alright, I expect to see Torres and Villegas up the inside, and it's Villegas who gets the whole shot down that hill. Done a very nice job of it. Keeps up the inside, got some action behind him. Torres slotting himself into the second position. There's a lot of manualing happening through. It's a very sort of smooth second straight on the challenge side that the guys have got to deal with. Big shot up the inside for Babri. Villegas comes back at him, so we'll see how that goes down through this third straight that's been causing a lot of issues for some of the riders. We're coming around that last corner. It's a 4-up race. Babri gets a good move on the second from Villegas, and Krzyzewski in the third. Good ride from the young Aussie.
Yeah, big mix up there as they came across that line. As we move on to Heat 13, Shirar, Bias, Racine, Nakai, Amidou Mir, Simba Darnand, Max Boyer, and Jesse Asmus in this one. Corbin Shirar, the national champion of the USA, as evidenced by the stars and bars on his sleeve.
Okay, riders, random start.
Michael Bias into.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Right, this one's going to be interesting as they head down towards turn number 1. Michael Bias not getting the best of starts, but Corbin Shirar definitely did. The 24, the 2017 world champion leading it out. Bias has gone low. Nakai's gone into that second spot. Simba Darnand, I think it is, in there in 3, but the USA out front and in control on this one. Japan chasing them down into that turn. Shirar looking good, though. He's 0.316 ahead of Nakai. So, Shirar, Nakai, Darnand, 1, 2, and 3. Darnand under pressure in that final turn. Is he going to hold on to it? I think he is. Shirar's bringing it to the stripe. Nakai's there in 2. Darnand in 3. Asmus in 4. Michael Bias with a late charge but couldn't make it stick. He's going to have to go to the LCQ.
That is a big ride for young Jesse Asmus. But Corbin Schreier looking the goods. Moving on, next one, we got Andy Hughes, Brad Game, Joris Armstrong, Rio Akbar, Adam Carey, Arthur Pillard, Komet Sukprasad.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Alright, young local, he's done plenty of laps here. Andy Hughes up the inside there, but at the moment I think it's going to be Pillard. We'll work our way as they come into the Tioga corner. It's Harmson actually shot to the first, then Game, and then Pillard as they come out of that first corner. Boys keeping it on the back wheel, choosing to manual. Not a lot of jumping in this wind. Everything's staying on the ground. So it's Harmson, Game, Pillard, and Hughes is the 1 to 4. They pop their way through this straight. Boys picking different lines. It make you pay if you don't get it right. We're in the UCI corner. We come across the line. And Harmson, good lap from him. Game, Hughes and Pillard for the 4.
Yeah, the Dutch definitely in control in that one. Joris Harmson taking the win.
A nice first straight.
Moving on, Heat 15, Nagasako, Taylor, Kyle Evans of Great Britain, Fantoni of Italy, Strazdins from Latvia, Ugamar from the Netherlands, and Marzalek from France.
Massive week from Nagasako last weekend too. Rode really well.
Yep. See the breeze just making the jerseys flutter in the wind. The trees in the background.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Kyle Evans in lane 3, doing it for Great Britain. He's going to be looking for a good lap this time around. He's in the middle. He's got Nasako right there next to him as they head into the turn. Kyle Evans threading the needle, taking the whole shot. He's in there in 1. Nagasako, Fantoni, Marzalek. That is your top 4, but Kyle Evans of Great Britain leading it out. Looking good into that second turn. He's got about 4 bike lengths now on the Italian in there in 2, Fantoni. So Fantoni chasing him down. Evans working through. Oh, he got it slightly wrong going through the rhythm section. Brakes just went on slightly to hold it up. Nagasako's back into 2 and closing fast. Is he going to catch him at the line? It's going to be very close. Oh, Nagasako, I think, just got it. Nagasako, Evans, Fantoni, Taylor. Well, Kyle Evans was coming down that third straight. He just got it ever so slightly wrong, and we could just see him tap the brake. And he held on for second spot.
Oh, close moment. We move to the next. We got Maye Piwa, Orego, Bernhard, Jacko Glab, Haratawan, and Asmus.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So you'd expect to see our Colombian and French riders move straight to the front of this, and it's exactly what's happened. So Piwa, nice gate from him, nice first straight, and looks like Maye's slotted there in the second place. Rego Ricard into the third place, and those 3 riders, top shelf riders, have all moved to the front of the pack. We work it into the second there, and still Piwa from Colombia, Rego Riche Maye. In that exact order, looking at this third straight, it's the place to watch at the moment. Oh, big swoop on that last corner to try and gain the position. I don't know if it's worked for him. No, he's going to still have to say Reko. That was Asmus is coming for the 4th, but Puwa, Maye, Rego, and Asmus will be the 1 to 4.
Heat 17, Kai White of Great Britain, Thuan of France, Van Kamen of the USA, Bodie Turner back on it for Australia, Verhoeven, Gargaglia, Morgan Seward, and Jaden Keogh.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Heat 17 leaves the gate. Kai White on the inside. Where is Bodie Turner? He's right there in the middle, heading towards turn number 1. Just going to slot in just behind the British rider. So it is White, Turner, Van Kamen, 1, 2, and 3. Verhoeven in there in 4. But Kai White, he can pick up speed absolutely anywhere. So this track is tailor-made for a rider like him, and he's leading into that second turn. Turner is definitely chasing him down. Van Kamen right there on his back wheel, and White excels in the rhythm section. He's got that one absolutely perfect. So Kai White White, Great Britain, he's going to take the win. Bodie Turner's going to get 2. Look at the battle for 3 and 4, though, as they cross the line. Who's going to get it? Van Kamen for the 3, Gargaglia for the 4, Verhoeven unlucky in 5. But it was all Kai White in that one.
Yeah, you said it, mate. This track custom made for a rider like Kai White. He's so smooth. Here we go into the last of the 18. Kai Sakakibara, Cora Frieswig, Yamaguchi, McLean, Stindor, Milano, Bennett, and Danvers. Kai Sakakibara did some awesome things last week. Little unlucky. Moved into those top finals.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Right, nice gate here. Let's see, he's got the back of this tabletop. That tabletop got a huge down ramp on it. Looking for our other Aussie rider. It looks like it might be Josh McLean. As we go through, it is Kai Sakakibara. Yamaguchi slots himself into the second place here. So it's an Aussie 1-2 at the moment. Sakakibara very fast down that second. I think he's just gone past McLean. Oh, and Kai Sakakibara looks like he's gone down in the second. Cannot take a trick. We work our way through. McLean looking very smooth, very skillful rider for Australia. Comes through. He's got himself a healthy lead. He'll go across there. He'll get the win. Stindor, Frieswick, and Bennett in that order. Danvers from New Zealand unable. Well, you're going to have to look at Kai. I don't even know what happened there, Rich.
I think the front wheel just crabbed as he went into the turn. I don't know whether it sort of slipped or grabbed or something, but it literally just folded in front of him and he just went over. And he didn't even get his hands out, so that was a big crash for Kai Sakakibara. Let's hope he's okay. Japanese rider going down in that one as well, which was Yamaguchi, I think. He's picking himself up and walking away. Kai Sakakibara being looked after by our on-site medical team. Obviously, the riders get the best possible medical care.
Yeah, both Kai and Daichi right in the thick of it, like in the top 4. Kai was actually moving into first. Very smooth second straight. I think I put the commentator's curse on him. I'd actually said how smooth he'd done the second straight, which is exactly what he'd done. And then, yeah, just that front wheel.
So, yeah, Kai being looked after as the Japanese rider heads towards the finish line, I should say.
Yeah, great. So he's back on the bike. On the carbon rig against so many of these riders now riding carbon. So this third straight,
it's definitely going to be the game changer, I think, as we move through the day. I'm quite surprised at how many people it's managed to catch out already. Kyle Evans, just by a deft, squeeze of the brake lever, just keeping himself, on track and where he needed to be, but
some next level skill actually from Evans to be able to pull
completely.
That so fast. He got the front wheel tag, balance goes out, and still manages to keep himself off.
Got coaches there looking at something. I don't know if it's Instagram or what, but they're checking something out.
This time and that time.
So conversation going on. So we'll see what comes of it. Still bright here in Bathurst in Australia. Track there looking absolutely superb. I have to say, in the time that we spent, just next time you see the elite men, it will be the last chance, where they get one last chance, hence the name, to move across to the 16th finals.
Aptly named.
Aptly named. What I was saying was that, I'll tell you what, we'll next up, the elite women. And that will be round 1. They've got the opportunity to move into the 8th finals, and then the unlucky 4 will move to the last chance qualifiers. Anyway, as I was saying, the smoothness of the tracks here in Australia it's been a revelation. The tracks have looked really, really good, Brett.
Yeah, they're really quick. There's some surfacing. I know the 6 surface that's been put on these tracks it adds to the speed. So very quick, a lot of work's gone into the preparation of both the tracks. So Shepparton and Bathurst, enormous amounts of work. So here we go.
So, here we are, UCI BMX Supercross World Cup, round number 3 in Bathurst, Australia. The city of Bathurst definitely getting behind the event here this weekend. Plenty of publicity around the the city of Bathurst itself, and I have to say they've been so welcoming here. Everyone's been so nice, and there's no shortage of good coffee shops. It's everything that you need as a visitor to Australia, I think, Brett.
Everything that you need.
Everything that I need, yeah, exactly.
Rich, I think we could even get secondary employment for you in relation to just maybe a coffee blog or something like that.
Yeah, I'll just be a full-on coffee taster. I've certainly not been disappointed whilst we've been here, that's for sure.
Yeah, so Shepparton and Bathurst, probably two of those regional Australian towns that are just so proactive in bringing world-class events into their town. And Bathurst, definitely the case. It has Mount Panorama. And so they're not foreign to bringing a world-class event. So the UCI Supercross, it's just a natural matchup. Bathurst should host a UCI BMX Supercross.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're used to hosting events with a vast amount of people here, especially with the Bathurst 1000 and that kind of thing. With the population of the town swells to something like 195,000 of that particular weekend. So they're certainly well versed in putting good events on, and certainly Bathurst, they've done a great job for us so far. So kudos to the city of Bathurst.
Yeah, it's a lovely location too. You can see we've got the trees and the hills, and you can't quite see it, but literally just behind our first straight is the enormous Mount Panorama. So it's just over there.
Yeah, just over
off
the back
to
of
the
the
left
hill.
there as we look at the screen. Got a whole heap of locals. I know we've got people from Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, all travelled to Bathurst just to see this event. This is the best of the best of the best in an Olympic year.
Yeah. Yeah, the young fans were definitely running around with their number plates and jerseys yesterday, getting them signed by all the riders, seeing the superstars of the sport, who they wouldn't normally get to see. And I'm sure there's a lot of happy kids, running around with the autographs of their favourite riders.
Yeah, like it's not something. We are down under, so we're a fair few kilometres away from where a lot of the racing for most of the year is, the UCI Supercross rounds. So for us to play host to 4 UCI Supercross rounds in an Olympic year is stellar. It's just something that I don't think anyone can underestimate.
Yeah, and Australia is such a progressive country in terms of the way they do things, and the scene of BMX here is so strong that I think it's only right that we make a visit here at some point. And like I said, the fans, the communities, everybody's embraced UCI BMX Supercross World Cup. It's been a superb trip so far, and Australia's definitely done us proud.
We're glad to have you, Rich. Come back.
I'm sure I'll come back at some point.
So just have a look at the track there. We can actually see that the second straight at the moment, of course, they're running off the 5 metre, which means the second straight we're seeing the riders come across to the challenge side, not the normal elite side that we would see them. That's had some consequences. It means that really the track up until the second corner, it's fast, it's flowy, but it's not that technical.
Yeah, it's it's a case of get to that third straight and suddenly you've got something of some consequence in front of you. I don't think the riders are put off by that third straight, but I'm sure the speeds they're hitting it and the precision that they need to get through it, it would challenge the best of the best of the best, and certainly, the guys here have shown today that they've got some serious skills to kind of get through it, and it's just one small mistake, and that can be a race ender for you. So. Certainly, I think as the laps go on and the riders start to get a little bit more tired, and fatigue starts to set in a little bit, because they've spent quite a bit of time here in Australia. Just as we see Caroline Buchanan and Peyton Rydenor there, just having a nice chat behind the gate, just getting themselves ready, and I'm sure they're discussing the best way sort of through this track. Nice to see Caroline Buchanan back on the World Cup circuit.
Absolutely, and obviously a legend in Australia for BMX. Has pretty much been there and done it as far as BMX goes. I know she's still looking at that Olympic gold medal. It's definitely on her radar. And then you've got young young Peyton, up-and-comer for the US.
Yeah, pump track world champion as well.
Yeah, got some skills, that girl. So can move on a bike, definitely. So, and probably a sign, I would say she's a signature of the type of female rider we're starting to see come through. You know, they're the full package.
Yeah, yeah, skills, speed. It's just great to see young riders coming through like that. So, you know, long may it continue.
Yeah, so I think if I was probably going to mark it, so Mariana Pion is probably the first of those riders that we just had everything. So all skills, had the power, had the speed, had the confidence to do exactly what the boys were doing on the track.
Well, it looks like a fairly in-depth conversation. So, and I like Peyton's custom-painted helmet as well. That looks very factory.
Yeah, very factory.
Caroline giving us a wave there.
There we go.
We're just awaiting the nod to continue. Priscilla Stevo up on the hill there with Matilda Dodu. Matilda there in a Sarian's GT Club jersey, which is nice and bright and colourful. Good to see.
Of course, the girls would have purposely warmed up and stretched and done all the things they need to do as elite athletes. Oh, here we go, talking and stretching. So we've got, so it is, keep in mind, it's a little difficult for these girls when you have this little bit of downtime.
Okay, we're going to have a word from our sponsors. Okay, looks like we've just got a delay, so we'll be back with you as soon as we possibly can, just to keep you updated. So the ladies are going to have to take their time and really think about what they're doing up there, the elite women riders, just keep themselves warm, flexible, know that they've got a period of time where they need to not only keep themselves warm physically, but also mentally. You've got to stay in the zone. Now a word from our sponsors.
always know pro gate's gonna fall fast and on time, and it's always gonna be on point.
Alrighty, we are back here at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup round number 3 in Bathurst, Australia. And if you want to check out what's going on via social media here, you can go to the UCI Instagram account, the UCI BMX Supercross Instagram account. It's at UCI BMX SX, at UCI BMX SX. You can check out all the photos there and get the latest news and updates on the series. So, and if you want to drop us a little message here at commentary, it's at BMX Commentator, at BMX Commentator. You just send me an Instagram DM. We will try and, answer a few questions and a few comments. You just let us know what you're thinking, what you're seeing out there, and just give us a little bit of feedback on the way you're seeing the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup. Social media has definitely given us an outlet to kind of promote the sport, Brett, and also for the fans to kind of, make their opinions and their feelings known. I think that's quite a positive thing, don't you?
It's great. Like yourself as the UCI BMX Supercross commentator, I know you've got a following all over the world. It's hard.
It's hard to pay them all the same amount of money. That's what it is. But yeah, it's the social media side. It's so important to promote the sport, and I think that it's great to see, and it's good for the fans as well. And I think we may be getting another word from our sponsors.
Smoking tree lines, chasing, wasting time, escaping the skyline. West side, I'm gone, don't wanna calm down now, not till this feeling's gone. West side, I'm gone.
Here with Sylvain Andre. Sylvain, we're in Bathurst, windy conditions. How was first round?
It was tough. It was tough. All the Frenchies took the decision to do what we can do or do what we want to do and be safe, because it's only the second World Cup and it's still a long way to May plus the Olympics for the one going. So yeah, I took it easy, went lane 8 as Nick did, and since I knew I was in front and I shot the guy, I just cruised to the finish line. So yeah, we don't know yet what's going on. There's talking in the back, but yeah, I'll keep doing this, and so I'll do a few gates and I'll stay safe, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
It's hard to go from the 8 meter to the 5 meter.
I mean, it's different obviously, but you know, if the conditions were great at the end of the day, that might be the same riders that would be on top of the game. It's just too bad that we have to go down because of the condition. But yeah, the 5 meters it's fine. The tabletop's fine. It reminds me of a few good races in the US. So yeah, it's not too bad.
A lot of national teams are saying this one's not going to count for their Olympic qualification because it's off the 5 meter. Is that included in the French team?
Yes, that's what we all agreed as riders last night. So yeah, this race won't be. We have an internal ranking as all of the other countries, so this will not count in our ranking. So the one like me riding today is just because, yeah, if you stay safe, can grab a few points for the overall World Cup as well, because there's not only the Olympics in 2020. So if you can grab a few points, it's not too bad.
Riding in the wind, technical wise, you guys in France ride in the wind a lot. How do you do it?
Yeah, you know that. But the thing is, actually, when it's windy at home, I do not ride much, but it never really like crosswind. But yeah, I do know how it feels more than the British, for example. So yeah, you just have to adapt, and so it's another like thing to judge every 2 seconds, basically. Like, okay, where I'm at, how's the wind, what's coming up, okay, should I go, should I just hit the brake? So yeah, I have a little advantage, but yeah, nothing crazy.
Thanks for stopping by, Sylvain. Good luck today, and stay safe out there.
I will.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tori. Really good to hear from Sylvain Andre, the world champion out there in Baku in 2018. Always got a fairly prevalent point of view and never afraid to crack a joke. And I think that's what I like about Sylvain, Brett.
Yeah, a very laid-back guy for such an amazing rider. Not intense at all. You definitely wouldn't call that interview an intense interview.
No.
Interesting what he said about the wind riding, though. He said like he doesn't do a lot of wind riding, unless he really has to. But he says just another thing that comes into all the things they've got to think about.
Yeah, there's so many variables in a BMX race. With the 7 other guys. I mean, that's variable number 1. You're on the hill with, 7 other riders, and you can't predict what's going to happen. You can't predict where they're going to go. You can't predict how they're going to react. You can't predict what's going to happen in front, behind, at the side of you, anything like that. And it's just something else that a BMX athlete, as skilled and as talented as they are, have to deal with. So just going back to some of the earlier rounds, we can see Quillen Isidore just taking the whole shot there. Nick Kimmen just pulling the brake there, just keeping it nice and chill. But Quillen out front, being followed by, I think that was Jai Homsch, and the German rider in there as well. That was Nick Long. Back in 4, but Great Britain will be looking for some decent results because they're in the thick of that battle for the final spot that gains 2 positions to the Olympics. So it's very, very important for Great Britain, Australia, Colombia, Argentina. They're all in that mix. And Great Britain's cause not being helped there by Trey White ending up on the floor, but Quillen crossing the line and taking that moto win. It's very tight for that final 2-person spot.
Yeah, I spoke about it before too. Like coming off the 5 meter, the advantage that lane 1 normally would be coming off the 8, where when we get to the end of that first straight, I've got a lot of open track on the inside. So it really can't be closed down in lane 1 if you're coming off the 8. But on the 5, I've now got the white line on the inside of me. So if someone on the outside gets a little quicker, they're going to shut me down as soon as look at me. So we've seen quite a few of the big gun riders. Like we saw Anthony Dean he picked 1 all last week. Every time qualified first every round, but he actually picked 6.
Yeah. Just to give himself that optimum line into the first turn.
Yeah, definitely backing his horsepower down the first straight, but the lane 1 isn't the advantage that it might be. Say if we were coming off the 8. A lot of space. We saw some really good moves in that second corner. A couple of guys really hanging back and then just cutting down, like big swoop moves. And then, what was the race we saw? The one, like 4 or 5 of them all just joined in that last corner.
Yeah, it was so close as they came in, and it was the one where I think Jeremy Smith ended up on the inside of the barriers going into the turn. And that was Corentin Dubois taking that tumble in one of the earlier rounds. He must be made of iron, that boy, just getting up from that.
I'm not sure if he got up or he bounced up.
I think he might have bounced
He may have
up,
just bounced and happened to land on his feet again. So, but yeah, like you said, super tough. These guys are like for me, they're warriors.
Yeah, they're the superheroes of cycling.
Yeah, you get on that gate, and like we were saying, anything can happen. Anything whatsoever.
Yeah,
I'm not taking anything away from track or road, but yeah, there's a reason why these boys are wearing full face helmets.
Yeah. And there we go. That was Jeremy Smith just hitting the barriers.
Yeah, he just ran out of room. There's no more track to be had. And I think that was the tightest last corner we saw in the first round. So it was pretty crazy. Going into the first round, we got 5 riders. And like I said, you could throw a picnic blanket over the whole 5 of them. Yeah,
and you can never count out the Argentina squad. Mr. Viegas and Torres there just battling in that turn. And certainly the local Aussie guys have put up a really good show so far. Why don't you tell us about a few of those guys, Brett?
Well, I think the thing we are actually seeing is that we've been talking about third straight. A lot of the young Aussie boys that have actually come here and raced our nationals here at Bathurst, this third straight hasn't changed since they've raced our nationals. So a lot of those boys know this straight. They know how to get across. There's a top line and there's a middle line. If we're going through the middle line, you're going to actually hit that first step up, go into the valley, and then jump out, and it's just clean doubles the way through. Nice way through, not too much risk associated. But the fast line is actually miss the deep valley, jump across the top, pump, and then double out. Like we said before, holds a lot more risk, but it's definitely faster. And I think the local boys, we've seen some of the young ones that we normally wouldn't expect to see maybe get through to the finals. Because they've been able to get that rhythm straight so clean, they've literally gone past some of our big hitters. Some of our Colombians and Argentinians and even our US riders have been passed by a little-known Aussie. So I think we might see a little bit more of that. And the other thing to consider is we had Sylvain talking about the wind. And at the moment, it is a headwind with a little bit of cross for that third straight. So even if the boys were practicing it, and the girls, in practice, they've now got a headwind for that third. So if you're thinking about that combo, it's going to push you back just a little bit. And we saw with the front wheel tap, was it Kai?
Was it Kyle Evans?
Kyle Evans. Yeah, he went into it really confident, hit the top line. Front wheel tap and managed to save it. So
yeah,
huge skills.
Yeah, definitely.
But that little bit of headwind could have done that.
Yeah. So the fans definitely watching from around the world. We've got them out in Birmingham in the UK. All the guys from Birmingham BMX Club, the Bowditches, they're definitely enjoying the show here at Bathurst. And certainly the fans out there on social media getting involved and really enjoying the racing, enjoying seeing a different venue, enjoying seeing a different scenario unfold here at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup in Bathurst. This track is part of a multi-sport facility. You can see the velodrome there in the background. So all kinds of cycling going on, and the roads around here are absolutely prime for a bit of road riding. And I believe they hold a hill climb event on the Mount Panorama circuit.
Yeah, there's one of the UCI Grand Fondo rounds is actually held here in Bathurst, as well as one of the top hill climbing races. Usually, I think we had Mark Renshaw, local boy.
Yeah.
So Bathurst is just full stop, mad on cycling. We've got some bike shops here. We've got a lot of support from the council for cycling. They've seen that it brings people in from all over the country, all over the world. And this would be one of the top shelf events, the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup. So it doesn't surprise me that we're sitting here at the bottom of a very big BMX track, talking about the best riders in the world.
Yeah.
So, big shout out to Jason Richardson too, who I'm wearing his hat.
You are
this week. So I know Jace had to couldn't stay a little bit longer down under, which is a shame. I know last week I was doing the track commentary, and now I find myself in the booth with the legendary Rich Eames.
I'd say legend in the loosest of terms, Brett,
Yeah.
but I really appreciate the sentiment. Thank you very much.
But yeah, it's so big shout out to Jace. I know he'd be listening there. So, but some of our Aussie riders, one of the ones I'm going to really point out is Alex Cameron.
Right.
I don't know if he was in one of the earlier rounds, and we saw Alex go from third into first. Actually knocked off Campo. So no mean feat, but Alex is, in Australian terms, notorious as the one rider you do not want behind you.
Yeah.
I would put him on, he's sort of the Australian version of Ramirez.
Yeah. Or Kai White, maybe.
Or Kai White as well.
Yeah.
So every country's got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kai White is definitely the UK's rider. You don't want him behind you. We saw that in his first race. He was super smooth.
Yeah, but the thing is, that makes the racing so much more interesting when you know that there's a rider there who can come in and he can shake it up, and he can make moves in turns, he can make moves through rhythm sections, and you're almost watching the guy 3 or 4 places back rather than watching the guy at the front, because you just think he's going to make a move. Paddy Sharrock was exactly the same when he was a kid. He would be in 5th or 6th place in the motor, and you'd see him line up moves 2 turns in advance, and then he'd come to the final turn and just pull a move from nowhere, and he'd end up inside the top 3 or even winning. So I love to watch entertaining riders like that. You know, riders who can just make moves, you know, make the crowd go mad, because the crowd, they want to be entertained, and they don't want to watch just riders going round in like single file or whatever it might be. So when something like that happens, you know, and the crowd are going to lift off, and people are going to get excited.
I think the term that you used when we were talking about this earlier was could catch backside off a house brick.
That is absolutely correct.
If you want a visual, folks, I know I'm very visual. That is the number one visual of how a really good BMX rider, because there's 2 ways you get speed. One is pedaling, and the other way is what's hidden in the track. And if you're one of those riders that can tap into what's hidden in the track, and there's lots of fall in this track, which means there's lots of hill, there's lots of backside. So what about 3.5 meters fall from the bottom of the hill to the finish line?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of speed.
Yeah, it's you know, the actual sort of, like you said, the fall from the start hill to the finish line, it's almost like a BMX roller coaster, because you're going downhill, you're going so fast. It's crazy. We've got nothing like it in the UK. I think the closest thing we've ever had to this would have been the old track at Cheddar, but yeah, it certainly wasn't on a par with this. You know, it's like, you know, you strap yourself in, you put your safety harness on, as it were, and then you just shoot roller coaster of a track, and then you end up at the end with almost just your eyes popping out of your head, because the ride has been so intense. It's been such a rush to get from the top to the bottom, and I think that's a really great sort of trait for a BMX track to have.
Yeah, I think we early thousands. I think we saw a couple of those, or maybe the late 90s. We saw a few of those BMX downhill races, and they were sort of like the prequel to our UCI BMX Supercross today. A couple of races over in the US. Robbie Miranda, I think, might have won one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're on about the ones at Woodward.
Yes.
The very early ones.
Very
yeah.
early.
The very early ones.
the
Woodward East.
It's like the birth of BMX Supercross.
Yeah. It was. That was certainly there was no centres to the jumps. It was, you know, you had to make it, or that was it. It was your race over.
Make it or break it.
Yeah, I remember Robbie Miranda's, you know, last straight jump, and he didn't catch any backside whatsoever, the house brick or not, and he ended up in a heap on the floor. But that was the X Games win that you know paid him a nice chunk of cash, and gave him infamy in BMX to this very day.
To this day. Yeah, so I think that's probably the birthplace of some of these big UCI Supercross tracks. I know we've got a couple others that'll be soon birthed around Australia. So Adelaide, I know, are very much looking at a similar sort of facility to this.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be the person in the know as to what's actually happening in terms of you know, tracks being built in Australia and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So we've done. I've been involved around Australia. Bathurst is one of them. Although probably the one thing I would say is that there's probably a lot more in a good BMX track than most people realise. A lot more thinking, a lot more science. So there's reasons why some tracks are good and some aren't.
Yeah.
So you're getting messages from everyone, here. I'm just having a look on your social media, and as we have a look in the crowd there, visit bathurst.com.au. But yeah, a couple of Australian legends, definitely, and I know all these boys. Billy Dixon has just messaged us to say big shout out to Magic Mick Wilshire, who was an Australian champion, Wayne McIntosh, and Shane Robinson. Those three would be three 80s BMX legends in Australian terms.
Yeah.
And sitting in the audience, probably loving every second of this racing.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I met a couple of the guys yesterday, and you know, so many positive comments and shaking hands, and they couldn't be more delighted to have, you know, the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup come to town. So, you know, great to see the Aussies, old school and new school, you know, just loving what's going on here.
The Australian BMX super coach there, of course, we've got Connor Fields, Isaac Kennedy. This man here, probably if they've won something big, then that man's actually coaching them. Sean Dwight, of course, I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, still on hold here at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup in Bathurst. We're looking to go racing again as soon as we possibly can. Weather conditions still as they were before, just a bit breezy, bit overcast. There's Sam Blue, just a keen eye on proceedings. Liam Phillips there as well. Both ex-champions and now super coaches in their own right.
Yeah, one of the things that stood out for me with Elise last week at Shepparton is she's riding the back of jumps as Sam would have.
Yeah.
It's a skill, and I would say Sam almost changed the face of BMX, the way that he introduced that instead of, you know, hit the down ramp, recover, and then start pedaling, Sam was pedaling as soon as his wheels hit the ground.
Yeah.
And I note now that Elise is doing the same thing.
Yeah. Touring the rider's corner, and I think he's got Nick Kimmon with him.
I feel little. Declan.
Thanks, guys. Tori Nyhug here with Neek Keeman, World Cup overall champion from last year. Neek, you started off the year with a World Cup win this year. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was really good. I was really excited to get the season going, and you know, it was my first time in Australia, first time in Shepparton on a new track, so I was just excited to ride in general, and it was even better to start the season with a win.
What's it like, you know, training all off season, coming to the first race because you're not really sure where you stand and everything? Is that going on in your mind?
Yeah, I was feeling pretty confident, like I knew I was doing well, but at the same time you never know how good it is compared to the competition. So, like, it's funny, day one in Shepparton, I wasn't even feeling that good, but everything was just perfect in the main. And day two, I was made just a tiny mistake in the semi, and then I didn't even make the main. So it's funny how tight the competition is, that like you can win one day and like even go out in quarters 1/8 the next day because the level's just that high.
So we're in Bathurst this weekend, windy conditions, rain on the forecast, running off the 5-meter hill. What are your thoughts on that?
I'll wait for the gate to drop. Yeah. Like I said, I really like Shepparton. I really like that type of track. This track is like super downhill. Like, I'm not a huge fan because I think on a flat track we can already get to like 60 kilometers per hour. So tracks this downhill, but that's my personal opinion. It's the same for everyone. But then you have the side wind here, like it's getting worse and worse every minute, I feel like. So like if I'm honest, in an Olympic year like this, with like points on the line, Olympic spots on the line, I think the UCI should just protect the athletes, because there are so many who don't really have a choice. If they want to make the O show, they have to race. So I think the UCI should protect their athletes and cancel the event. I know it's pretty hard to say that because you have like organizers. We're on the other side of the world. Of course, we want to ride. You have people who came out to watch. So I understand it's a tough thing to do, but I believe you should look at the bigger picture and just like rider safety should be first. And I don't think like in a big year like this with so much on the line, it should be raced like maybe like they're already talking about in that time. As a result, I think you should just have a proper race. If the reward is that high, you should have a proper race. That's my opinion.
With all that stuff going on this weekend, how do you adapt to that, and how do you have that in your mind but still adapt from going the 8 meter to the 5 meter hill?
Like the way our system works, if the race of the 5 meter, it doesn't count for internal points. So for me, there is really nothing on the line. Like I'm a racer, I like racing, so I'll go do a gate, see how it goes. But like I'm not too stressed about because I know for me it won't make a big difference. I can even just pull out, don't show up, and it won't make a difference. So yeah, I just try to adapt as good as possible and just don't take a risk if I don't need to.
Thanks for your honesty, Nick, and have fun this weekend.
I want to end in a positive way. I don't want to sound too negative. Like in general, I liked Australia. I had a blast in Shepparton. I've been in Brisbane before. I had a blast, but just with these circumstances, I think, yeah, unfortunately, we have to end a trip like this.
Absolutely, and you've had a warm welcome with the Australian fans. They've loved having you here, so thanks for stopping by, Nick, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Tori.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tori, as we see some spots of rain start to land on the camera. So, yep, just still on hold here at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup in Bathurst, Australia. So we will wait and see what comes. And but yeah, certainly Nick very forthright there with his opinions. And but the great thing was that he just said, you know, he's had such a blast in Australia. He's enjoyed himself so much, and he's really, you know, a fan of Australia as a nation. And I think that's you know, a great thing to hear, and very, very positive for Australian BMX, Brett.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Nick's got an enormous following here in Australia. He's such an amazing rider. He's a professional rider. Everything I've heard from where Nick's been, he's just had this huge fan following. So you've got to respect the rider's opinion, and I totally get where they're coming from. You know, this is a big year for the riders. You know, they've got the Olympics online. He was last year's UCI Supercross champion. So he knows that he should be on top of that pile. So he doesn't want to put, you know, anything that might risk his Olympic campaign.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's been nice as well from a fan perspective here at Bathurst is that the riders themselves have made themselves so available for the fans. You know, they've been signing autographs, they've been doing photos. Nothing's been too much trouble for them. We've seen that kind of thing go on at Papendal, in Paris, in Manchester, and I think the fact that the riders make themselves so accessible and it enables them to develop a relationship with the fans. And I know my own son's got his favourite riders, and when he saw them at Manchester last year, they were like, yeah, photograph, no problem, autograph, no problem, you know, follow me on Instagram, and you know, they would do that kind of thing for them as well. So the athletes, you know, when you compare it to certain other sports like Premiership football or, you know, maybe golf or something like that, where a fan can't get near their favourite athlete or their favourite personality or whoever it might be, it just makes BMX just such not only a fan-friendly sport, but a family-friendly sport. And that, for me, is one of the best things about BMX racing. Yeah,
well, it's a people sport, so you know, there's nothing there. We wouldn't come here any other weekend here to Bathurst or to Shepparton, and you would see sprockets, 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds rolling around the very same track that the big boys had raced around, obviously at different speeds.
Yeah.
But so, and I think that's the thing about the sport is you will see the elites, you know, going off the same gate, you know, with the exception of the 8 meter, but you know, the same track in the same staging area. So I think, yeah, there's not that division that you see in so many other sports between the elite levels and the junior levels. So which I know my daughter's a huge Maria Pion fan.
Yeah.
Yes, I recall being at a World Championships chasing around at the back of many other Colombian fans.
Yeah, of which there are many fans of Mariana's anyway.
Trying to get an autograph for with my daughter, from Marion. But
And I'm sure you got that autograph as well.
we did.
Yeah.
We did. It was persistence paid off.
Yeah.
Persistence paid off. I think we may have got in the offshoot. It took us a while to get it, but I think in the offshoot we got one from Merle Van Betham as well. She had just been in the junior world champion final.
I think so.
There. She was somewhere. I think she might have won it actually back then. 1 year.
Oh, I'm digging deep into the
I'm
recesses of my
I'm
minds
talking
now.
to the BMX Wikipedia himself, Rich James. But yeah, so and absolutely the accessibility between the top elites and the juniors is so good.
Yeah, I mean, tell us a little bit about the scene here in Australia, Brett, because obviously I'm well versed with the scene in Europe and the UK and that kind of thing. What sort of rider numbers do you get at the various races? Let's say, a state or a regional race, a national series event, your end of year titles, whatever it might be. Just give us an idea of the numbers that are involved in Australian BMX.
Yeah, so we're based, I'm based in New South Wales, so not that far from Bathurst here, and so we have the New South Wales regional series or state series, and then that's pretty regularly. It's going to pull over 600 riders to that state series, and that will be most every state series will see 600 riders. So
yeah, so that's kind of like midway between what would be a regional and a national in the UK, because UK nationals, you're talking 800 riders plus. Sometimes up to 4 figures, and then a decent regional will pull, 400, maybe 350 in the north, 450 in the south or the southwest. So it sits right there in the middle, which is quite similar.
yeah, we do have a national series. The national series probably doesn't see quite as many numbers in riders. We might be 300-400.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to hear. So we're going to get a few more words from sponsors, I think.
As the rain pitters on our cameras. Just a little.
You always know pro gate's gonna fall fast and on time, and it's always gonna be on point.
Okay, we are back here at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup round number 3 in Bathurst, Australia. So we were chatting about the Australian scene, Brett, and you were giving us an idea of the numbers. I think we were talking about the National Series when we got to that point. So just give us a bit of an explanation on the National Series here in Australia and numbers and what kind of things you guys get on a regular basis.
Yeah, so the National Series is a difficult one because Australia's a pretty big place. So you'll get the top riders that really want to, especially once they get around that 13, 14, 15, they want to start to be looked at for national team selection, things like that. So that they'll really start following that National Series. I followed it last year, went around and raced myself, loved it. Got to ride a bunch of tracks that we'd actually done ourselves, which was cool. Satellite City, big shout out to all my friends up in Darwin. Now that's a hot, humid place to race in.
Yeah.
But the track's under a roof.
Even better.
A giant carport.
All right, okay, so it's very similar to the setup in Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines, just outside of Paris, the French facility.
Yeah.
They have a roof on, but they've got no sides.
No walls, that's it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so...
And like DeSoto in Texas as well, that's another track that's built in that sort of fashion.
Single span roof. So no poles anywhere. So an amazing, when it's lit up of a night time, it's like daylight. Really good track. It's a great track to race on. So I raced there. We raced all the way down in Hobart last year. So in Southern City, big shout out to the Southern City Club down there. This year we'll be in Launceston for the Australian National Championships in Tasmania again.
Yeah.
So down to the Apple Isle we go.
I'm getting an Australian geography lesson here.
Yeah,
this is great.
All over. We've been over to Westside in Perth for National Series. That's a pretty Gucci track over there. Coburn Club over there in the throes of building themselves a brand new, very impressive facility as well. So you can do some big kilometres if you follow the National Series in Australia.
Yeah.
So big Ks. So you're either jumping on a plane or you're buying yourself an RV. And doing a lot of travelling.
Yeah, RV sounds so much cooler than caravan.
Yeah.
It really does. The other thing I wanted to ask about as well in terms of the Australian scene, I've heard of, do they call it the Track Attack series?
Oh, down in Victoria.
Tell me that. Tell me about that. What's that all about?
It's iconic. So that's beginning of the year.
Does that last for a week or something?
Yeah, it's like, all right, I better have done some training because if I haven't, my legs are going to actually fall off by the end of the week. So you literally hit all the tracks through Melbourne in 1 week of manic racing. It is iconic. It's been running, I couldn't tell you how many years, but a lot of years it's been running for. And it's like the kickoff for the Victorian race scene. I don't think you could call yourself an Aussie BMX if you haven't done it. Track Attack at least once. I've done it.
Yeah.
And I've crashed in it. So if you haven't crashed in it, you've got to crash in every series.
Yeah.
The other one that's worth mentioning is Nerang. Nerang has the number one race all year. It's actually held the very first weekend in January. We often get a lot of international riders come over because they get to go up to the Gold Coast. Nice weather, nice place to be, beaches. So people will travel up to Nerang for the first race meet of the year. And then Track Attack's normally, like, say, about 2 weeks after that. That's done in Victoria. So you go from the north to the south. But there's
Putting
some-
them kilometres in, obviously.
Yeah, this like that. Cairns got a great little track up there. It's hosted a bunch of national championships. Has an enormous first concrete corner. There's more concrete in that corner than what there is in most buildings. But it's a great track to race on yet again. I know probably the most remote track I think would be probably some of the Northern Territorial tracks. So we've got there's a new track just in Tennant Creek. Shout out to Tristan Cronk who actually built that. So TK went out and built that. We designed it, but it's Tennant Creek is a long way from anywhere.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to say Nhulunbuy, which is in Arnhem Land.
Right.
North of Arnhem Land. You want to get there, you probably won't be able to get there in wet season.
Right. Okay.
Unless you fly in. It's if you're into fishing, they tell me that's a great place to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. Are you a fisherman?
I'm not a fisherman, unfortunately.
We're BMXers.
There'd be too many flies by the side of the water.
We're BMXers.
Yeah, we're BMXers. We need a bit more action than fishing.
Yeah, but Nhulunbuy's a great track. It's very hard. It's basically built out of rock. So,
Really?
Very hard track.
Okay.
But awesome little club again, and a long way from anywhere, and it forms part of the NT series. So then you got a lot of tracks as you work your way up along the West Australian coast there. Karratha, a gem of a track.
Yeah.
Little hidden jewel.
Ooh, you're selling it to me. Tell me more.
It's a great track, a great little track. I'm a little biased, we designed that one too, but it is one of those tracks you go to and say, I can't believe this is actually here, and you ride it, and it just brings one of those tracks that brings a smile to your face.
Yeah.
It's just a fun track. Karratha is like far sort of northwestern Australia, top of Western Australia there. Surrounded by red. Everywhere you look is red desert.
Oh, right, red desert. I'm thinking bright red. That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking of red that's
surrounded by red, and the track
on the
itself
screen
is
in front
red
of us.
as well because it's made out of what's around it. So it's a red track, but cool little track, very cool track. If you ever get a chance to head up there, and some great tracks out in Perth, Adelaide got some great tracks. So we've got a lot of really good tracks. I think you mentioned it before. The quality of tracks over here is really, I would say very, very good. You get some hard-working clubs. I think it's the same in the UK. The clubs quite often are the thing that make or break the track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got such a vibrant club scene in the UK, and all those dedicated volunteers out there who put, many hours in just, organising races, maintaining tracks, that kind of thing. And it's exactly the same here in Australia. BMX as a sport wouldn't run without our volunteers, so we need to give every single volunteer, every single BMX club, UK, Australia, France, wherever you may be in the world, if you volunteer at a BMX club, then kudos to you guys.
Kudos,
because
yeah.
you are the guys that make it happen. You are the guys at the grassroots who keep the wheels turning quite literally in this sport. So BMX volunteers everywhere, we love you.
Love your work.
So yeah, big shout out to you guys.
What's the thing? If you weren't on a shovel, you don't have a say.
Well, I think that's perfectly correct. No dig, no ride, as
No
they say
dig,
when you
no
don't,
ride,
as they say
baby.
when you're at the trails. But that's one of the things I've noticed as well whilst we've been here in Australia. In terms of, we were on our way up from Sydney the other day. We were driving up and we were like going over the Blue Mountains, and I just saw a sign at the side of the road that said Blue Mountains BMX Club, and I'm like, there's a track there, that's brilliant. And then you'll go a few miles down the road and there's a concrete skate park, and then you'll go a few miles further down the road and there's another concrete skate park. And when we were in Shepparton, there was a concrete skate park outside of the hotel. It seems that Australia as a country has embraced, I hate to use the word action sports, but that's the word I'm going to use because it's the best way I can describe it. Like, skateboard, scootering, BMX, mountain bike, anything like that. Australia's a country. I mean, you've got the climate for it. It's always sunny. It's not like it's 5 degrees like it is back in Manchester at the moment, and pitch black and probably throwing it down with rain. You've got the climate here, but Australia as a nation just embraces action sports, and you've got the best freestyle guys. Your Logan Martins and those kind of people. You've got fast racers, Anthony Dean, Caroline Buchanan, Sayas Kakibara. And I'm not trying to leave anybody out, but your nation for producing quality athletes, it's second to none.
And not a lot of population. Like when we throw out the gross population of Australia.
I thought you were going to say when you throw out all the Brits then.
Or if we got no one left.
Yeah.
You said you were at Bondi the other day.
Yeah, we were.
Bondi'd be empty if it wasn't for the Brits. But yeah, I think per capita, I think we probably punch above our weight, which is a cool thing, especially in these sports. So yeah, you can literally find the scene in most small towns. There'll be a set of dirt jumps, sort of hidden in the trees somewhere. I always like following the little goat tracks when I go to a new town and trying to find where the local kids have built the dirt jumps. I know they're there. I've just got to find them.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant stuff, and the Aussie kids are not shy on building their own facilities if they can't find one locally. Do you still have the same? I know we have the kind of problems in the UK where somebody will build a set of trails somewhere and they'll sit there for years and years and years, and then suddenly somebody in authority will find them, and the next thing you know, there's a bulldozer on top of them, knocking them down. Do the dirt jumps in Australia kind of tend to survive?
no, it depends where they're built. So I know some councils have to hold liability over certain areas. So unless they're assessed, some councils will actually go out and try and assess the jumps so they can keep them. So I've worked with a lot of councils in Australia that have done that. So instead of knocking them down, they've looked for another way to do it, to try and assess them, or maybe make them a little bit sort of user friendly.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So well, I think we're coming around. We've had some very good pieces of legislation that got brought in early in the 2000s that have sort of helped with that, as far as like who's liable for what and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So which has been really cool, because I think it's actually let these sports like BMX and stuff really sort of start to progress even more so. But yeah, so I don't know, there is a cool scene. I'd like to think it's always going to. I think pump tracks are probably one of the things that we're going to see a lot more of.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking exactly the same thing actually. So, in England, the pump tracks are popping up with almost, I was going to say alarming regularity, but it's not alarming. It's fantastic regularity, because I think that is the key to kind of bring a young rider from, being unfamiliar with BMX full stop, because if there's a pump track in his town and then he's riding it, he's enjoying it, or a girl sees something that she can get involved in, and my own children are involved in it just from seeing what goes on, so they can see something where they can come in at a lower level and it's not so scary. They can go and ride a pump track, spend a few months getting used to it, and then transition to the local BMX track. I think pump tracks for that are just brilliant.
I think every BMX track should have one.
Yeah.
Just have one on the side somewhere.
Yeah, just put one right next door. Yeah, it would be superb. And obviously pump track is now a UCI recognised event. There's a World Championships.
Hayden Ridenour, we spoke about it before.
Yeah, David Graff winning the title as well. So, our BMX elite riders, both elite men and elite women, winning the pump track World Championships. It's a great thing to see. But as a stepping stone for young first-time riders to come into a sport like BMX or mountain bike or whatever it might be, it's definitely the way to go. And I hope we see, a lot more pump tracks out there.
Yeah, we spoke to, I know last week I spoke to Bodie Turner, just about his sort of, kicking on with his big comeback into racing. But both Bodie and Wade were in the Australian round final, so end of last year, so which was funny, brother and brother. And we gave him a little bit of curry because Wade beat him. So
yeah,
which was fun. Bodie took it on the chin, as he does. But yeah, I wouldn't like to be Wade if they meet again in the pump track, because I think Bodie's had enough.
Okay, looks like we are done for the day here in Bathurst. So it looks like we'll be back tomorrow for round 4 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup. Please keep an eye on the UCI BMX SX Instagram page at UCI BMX SX for all the details, and keep an eye on the social media, and we will see you soon.